I'm going to talk free speech now, and I was actually thinking it's been a wee while between drinks with the Free Speech Union because there's been so much other stuff going on. But there is currently some amendments to the Education Act. I think they were introduced yesterday in Parliament, and the Free Speech Union were involved in drafting them. My problem was, looking at them, I thought at first blush they looked anti-free speech because the provisions, as I understand, basically say that tertiary education institutes and universities shouldn't take positions on things that don't directly involve them. And to my mind, that's saying, oh, we're telling people to stick to their lanes. Is that the point of these changes or not? To find out more, I'm joined now by video link by head of the FSU, Jonathan Ayling. Jonathan, lovely to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, you can see why. Initially, I thought, well, what's the FSU going into bat for kind of, I felt, looking at it first blush, restricting the rights of people to have opinions or take positions on things.
And there, your subject changed in the two comments there, Sean, and that indicates the difference. At first, you said universities, and then you said people. And that's the difference of what we're talking about here. The vice-chancellors around our 8 universities are going to be blushing pink this morning as they listen to the platform, chuffed that Sean Plunket is batting their lane, because they think that this is silencing universities as well. And we'll be upfront. We're telling universities, we're telling administrations, we're telling the institutions, they have to stick to their lane. They exist as universities who are supposed to facilitate the development of knowledge and robust debate. And so when an institution says, so as Massey University, we are XYZ in favor of, or Auckland University takes a position on a foreign conflict or whatever, what that then does for academics who are actually the ones, academics and students who are actually the ones who have academic freedom within the university, is it silences them, it quells their voice and makes them afraid to speak out if they hold a differing opinion. And then we end up with Auckland University or Massey University, whoever it is, having this dominant position one way, and the debate is settled then because the institution has taken a position. What this legislation says is that academics are the critics and conscience of the nation. They are the ones who have academic freedom, and they don't have to stand in a line with their university on controversial perspectives. They get to put forward robust expert research and opinions. They get to have their say, and the university says, we exist to have this debate. That's about as far into the issue as we'll go.
Wow. Okay. When you delineate it like that, I understand what you're saying. You're saying that universities need to create the environment where academic freedom and genuine debate can take place. You yourself, I know, Jonathan, particularly in your interactions with Victoria University, have found that hitherto that has not been the case in New Zealand.
No, I mean, certainly my personal experience and generally the research and the years of work now we've done on the subject show that academic freedom is a real issue here in New Zealand and across the English-speaking West. Really, Sean, academic freedom and free speech are not the same thing, but they are so interlinked that the Free Speech Union has always said, if we, this is kind of a crude term, but if we fixed academic freedom, we would find that the fight for free speech was pretty much won as well. And that's because so much of the opposition to free speech that we face in our day and age comes out of the university and comes particularly out of the critical theories that are promulgated at the university. And we recently toured Dr. James Lindsay from the United States. You had him on your show several times. And this is his general thesis. Opposition to free speech can emerge from many, many different places. It can be used and abused by both the left and the right. But in our day and age, across the English-speaking West in particular, it has come by virtue of universities promulgating groupthink with respect to critical theories. That's really our fight in an essence at the moment. And what this means is anyone in universities, often they tend to be older, and by virtue of that, perhaps more senior. That's what was a little bit confounding about the research we conducted. A lot of people's initial hypothesis would be that a junior lecturer would feel less comfortable speaking out or dissenting as compared to a senior professor. But it actually showed that senior professors are the ones that are more fearful for speaking out and dissenting. And we can't prove this in the data, but our thinking is that's actually because by and large these professors come from a time where individuals were the ones who engaged in these questions and engaged in debate, and now it's far more groupthink, and there's cohorts around these young academics, and these individual older professors tend to stand alone. And so this is why, look, Sean, by no means is this legislation a silver bullet. I wish it were. I wish the fight for free speech had been won yesterday. We could, get on the aircraft carrier like George Bush did with a big banner that said victory, and the fight would be over. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But it's a good day nonetheless, where we can now have stronger laws, and inevitably at times universities will break them. That's when the Free Speech Union will come into bat for these academics.
But hang on, let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it. So this is a kind of aspirational goal that universities don't take positions on things that aren't their business. They provide this environment for true academic freedom. What are the penalties if they don't, and who decides if they haven't?
It's a very good question. And unfortunately, that is a weakness in the legislation. The Free Speech Union worked on the policy area, which are like the high-level ideas ahead of it. We weren't invited to work on the specific drafting. So they said, cool, thank you very much for this framework to use. We'll put it into a legal context now and get back to you, which means we were very interested yesterday when the law was released to see where it had landed. And we think this is one of the weaknesses. The enforcement mechanisms there are not clear. And already in New Zealand law, academic freedom is enshrined at quite a high level. It already has strong defenses. The question is, well, if someone does decide they don't agree, they breach academic freedom, what are the consequences? Where are the teeth? There's still not many teeth here. One of the things that the Minister for Universities can do is that this law requires all universities to have a free speech policy, and the minister can say your free speech policy isn't up to scratch, it doesn't meet the basic requirements, and so I'm going to actually have a tutu with it myself and make sure that there are stronger features in there. Now, that's all well and good if we have a minister for universities that understands academic freedom and is willing to emphasize it. We're concerned, though, that wind can blow both ways. And if a minister for the universities come in who actually wants a whole lot of specific provisions to be the duties of universities that actually are unrelated to them creating this open environment, well, we could see that abused as well, which is why we want laws that enshrine the principles, not allocate power to one side or the other, because we may win on one day and lose on the other. And I think ultimately it's going to be a cultural victory that actually allows us to move forward here. The Free Speech Union is increasingly involved in putting forward people with remarkable qualifications for committees and for government boards, and ultimately our aspiration is to have Free Speech Union members across all university councils, and hopefully even Free Speech Union members who are vice chancellors.
Jonathan, and the other problem though with this is, okay, you have this new law. Aren't the universities only going to give tenure to and promote people if they are? And let's be honest, God Massey, they're bloody terrible in a lot of instances. Aren't they just going to give preference to people who will exercise the free speech in a way that they agree with?